Remember those days, those L's, I couldn't sleep right now. I get paid, vacay, I'm staying B-side. Breaking the blues over steak, I gotta eat right. You could be my peace sign. I don't need bad energy around me. I just need sun, you're so cloudy. I wake up good, you're so grouchy. Please get from around me. When the truth don't work, you start telling lies. Thought you were down to ride, you weren't down to ride. Caught switching, you were picking sides. Don't blink, caught slipping like a slip and slide. I was shooting dice till I got a nosebleed. Money on the floor, can't get cold feet. Took a L, should've put it in the offering. Lord, forgive me for my sins, don't know of me. Scary thoughts, I got scary thoughts. Lost control, now I'm taking charge. Breaking bills, friends breaking off. You could be the youngest, I'm the dawn. Kiss the ring, nah. In the scene like G.O.T. Stay awake, don't sleep.
Stay awake, don't sleep. Hey, what is going on with the J crew? Hopefully you guys had a fantastic weekend. I did. I relaxed all weekend and binged Manifest. My memory is shot these days. So whoever turned me on to Manifest, I think it who was that? Was it Jamie? Who was in here last week and said something on Manifest? I could probably go back and look, but I think it might have been Becca or Jamie. But yeah, Manifest is the shiznit. And I remember Jen and I being into it and not seeing it anymore, and it made sense why. Because it's not on regular TV anymore. What's up? Not on regular TV anymore. Netflix picked it up. Shout out to Netflix. Way to freaking go, Netflix. Thank you. Because that show deserves to be aired because it's insane. You thought Star Trek was good? Manifest. Gotta be. Um, yeah, it's a sci-fi, dude. It's we're all connected. That's all I can say. Listen, while we're here, I want to give a special shout out and special thanks to Jen Litchfield. Okay, if you can hear me and hear me clearly, it is because Jen hooked your girl up. All right, she hooked your girl up with a new mic, so no more scratching and zipping in and out. And I don't know if it was the connections or what, but thank you, Jen. Not only that, um, we got gifted a couple more things. She said a headset's coming to help Jen out with a computer. So, you know, listen, the universe sends all kind of angels when you're in need and when you are doing the things that you're doing from the heart. People feel that and they show their gratitude in all kinds of ways. And I just want you to know, Jen, we really appreciate the giftage and we really appreciate you. Um, thank you, thank you. And then Thanksgiving, so we're giving thanks. So yeah, that's amazing. Um, and I got the tablet and the tablet. Girl's amazing. Jamie McDonald, hey y'all, what's going on, baby girl? Was it you that told me about manifesting back, Jamie? Jessica Carroll. Jessica, hi, Jessica. All right, all right, all right, all right. Jessie, what's up, girl? Jessica is a pretty name, but Jess is a little more hardcore. It's like it punches you in your face, dude. Jessie Lawless is fucking phenomenal. I love that bitch. She's my friend. I just stumbled onto her profile on TikTok and just started scrolling through them, and I love it. She's like the nanny with a cup of coffee, except she's got her beer, and she reminds me of an unmelanated version of myself. I love her. She's fucking awesome. So yeah, Jess is good. Something going on with the Jess. What happens in these last days in these last? What's going on? What? Hey, huh? Huh? Hey, JJ, I'm not. Yeah, okay. Well, we're not gonna make it a long one because I don't want you ladies getting in trouble. So, yeah. So, yeah, don't apologize for being who you are. And I think I got inspired by Jessie Lawless's TikTok videos because I was watching them and I'm like, she is unapologetically herself, and I love that. That's what's so cool about the video. And that's what's so cool about coming on platforms and doing you because, we are all the same on the inside, but we all bring different things to the table. And when you give somebody a platform and allow them to be themselves and just, that's what makes the world go around, dude. That's what makes the world go around. See, I shouldn't have listened to her because then now every other word is the F word. I'm sorry. I'm a sailor. But that's what makes the world go around. We've all got to be different. If we were all the same, different things wouldn't have been brought into this world. There would be no Bill Gates. There would be no Microsoft. There would be no Steve Jobs. There would be no iPhones. There would be no TVs. I tell you what, there would be though. I mean, or you can look at it on the flip side. If we didn't have all that shit, we have a lot more people, and people would have a lot less anxiety. So you can look at it both ways. One second. Okay, so I've been informed that my mic is cutting in and out. How about that? Testing one, two. Testing one, two. Testing one, two. Testing one, two. That didn't come back at all. Okay. I don't know what is happening. Okay, how is that? It's weird. It worked perfectly the other day. Trying to deal with the technical issues, folks. Um, yeah, I don't know what to say. It's coming in and out. Okay, let me ask you a question. How's that? I'm gonna leave my phone. We may get an echo, but I'm gonna leave my phone on just for a little bit and get so I can kind of get some feedback as to how. Wow, that's weird. Okay, let's try that. Testing one two, testing one two. 'Cause it sounds like I'm under it. I did a live the other day, and let me all right. Testing one two, testing one two. Shout out to Ariella. We are dealing with some technical issues with my mic. We're just gonna see how this goes. That is literally out. Why is that doing that? Yeah, no, I just put it up there. Here we go. Okay, let's see what we got going on there. Good. I'm gonna tell you what it sounds like. All right, how does that sound, guys? There's about a 10-second delay. You can hear it clearly. Okay, let's see what we got going on there. Wow, look how far away that is. Yep, I think we fixed it. All right, how does that sound, guys? Okay, we're good. We're good. See, but you know what? In that whole time, and this is the cool thing here because you guys were there to witness it, I did not lose my cool one time. Normally, that type of stuff would have triggered me a few years back. I would have started getting hot and sweating, and next thing I know, my temperature would have been elevated. And it wasn't because I knew that I had you guys on here that I kept my cool. No, I legit inside didn't get off. So that's a good thing. That means the curing is in full effect. The healing is in full effect. Um, I'm gonna let Vegan Knowledge JJ come on. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Welcome to the stream. And I'm gonna put the link. I'm gonna let Jen in. I'm gonna put the link in for anybody who wants to come up and talk about anything you want. If there's anything on your mind, if there's anything that's been bothering you, um, Jess, I know that you said that you were willing to address some of the bipolar issues that you have experienced. And if anyone is in here that is listening, share this stream. Do me a favor. Let's hit the particulars. Smash the like button for me. If you have not subscribed, you wouldn't be in the chat. So share the video because we're all about self-help over here. We're all about just getting in a forum and just talking some shit out and helping people work out their issues that have PTSD, like I have struggled with being a cancer survivor, people who have anger issues, people who have any type of mental health issues, for a safe place where you can just talk some shit out and hopefully get some solutions that may help you, that have helped Jen and I. Let me go ahead and bring her in and then I'll put the link down. Hey, you there? I don't hear you. Let me go ahead and put this over in the chat. actually do have a question about the bipolar disorder. Because I don't know that I didn't struggle with it or don't struggle with it, but me, I don't go to doctors. So if I have it, I wouldn't have been and wouldn't be diagnosed. But what is like the definition of that? I think at the onset, my understanding of it is that it is what it sounds like. You have two zones that you can be in. Either you're extremely upbeat or you're extremely downbeat or in a hole or in a funk. And it can switch on a dime. That's what from media manipulation. And that's what I see on TV. That's how they make it look. So I don't know. So an understanding of that is definitely warranted. I would love to get an understanding of that because it's been a thing of where I've just always kind of been curious about that. I remember there being a situation, and I see some chats blowing up. I'm going to look at that in 2 seconds. I remember there being an issue when I was a kid. One of the first fights I ever had was with my then boyfriend. And I think we were in like the 3rd grade. And apparently he was having a bad day. Now, I don't know what that meant. Apparently, he was on some type of medication that he needed to be on, right? And
Okay.
for some strange reason, this day I was kind of, hey, Gary, what's going on? He's like, leave me alone. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Leave you alone. Come on, blah, blah, blah. And I'm trying to have a conversation with him. And he literally goes off at me and takes his book bag and swats it at me. Now I proceeded to beat the shit out of him. But, and that was the first time I ever saw red and kick somebody's ass for all intents and purposes. I'm not proud of that moment. But apparently we found out that he was on some type of medication. And I'm now in retrospect, I'm realizing he might have been bipolar, because he hadn't had medicine that day or something.
Yeah. So it cut off. The sound goes out while I'm trying to join in the thing. So what was your question? Like, what was your exact question?
Because my question was, is it basically mood swings? That's what they make it look like on TV. Or is it much deeper than that?
See, that's the thing. And I've made some videos on TikTok and stuff about that. People are quick to be, oh, she's so bipolar, or they're acting bipolar because of a mood swing. There's
Wait a
minute.
I don't mean to cut you off. Is there 2 Jens in here? I can barely see, but it looked like I put 2 Jens in here.
Yeah, there's 4 of us in here right now looking at the screen.
Jen. I don't know what's
happening. I can hear on either one, yeah.
Okay.
She said kick one out. Okay.
Okay, go ahead, baby. What's the 411 on it?
She said, I can't get off of mute. Can you remove one of me?
Yeah. Let me do that.
Well, you removed one, so I think when she joins, she's got to make sure. I did that the other day when I joined. I couldn't get off of mute. It was something I didn't click when I joined in. So she might have to leave completely in order to do that.
Try doing that, Jen, leaving completely and then coming back in, and I'll bring you in. Because I guess maybe since it was 2. Okay. Maybe I'll just go ahead and take it out here.
There we go. Okay. She should be able to come back. She just has to click on the thing. So
okay.
So a lot of times people will use bipolar as just a loose term for mood swings. Sometimes people are just being assholes. Sometimes they're just in a bad mood. However, so bipolar disorder is a chemical imbalance in your brain. Our brains on a brain scan will literally show differences Similar to schizophrenics and situations like that. Our brains just look a little bit different. It's a series of high highs and low lows. There's different forms. Some people have longer bouts of depression. Some
Mm-hmm.
people have longer bouts of mania. I'm a rapid cycler, which means I consistently am up or down. I have very few days of just level,
Okay.
which meant it was a lot harder to get me on the right medical regimen for
Medication.
medications.
Mm-hmm.
So, but essentially, it's just high highs, and the downside, mania will make you feel absolutely invincible. You are, yeah, I can take on the world. I can do anything. Let's do this. You're triggered. You'll blow your whole damn paycheck. Just binge shopping. You are in this great sense of, I'm invincible. This is it. I got this. Watch me. But it
Yeah.
comes with extreme downsides. If you ever suffered any kind of trauma as a child, bipolar disorder, when you're manic, often triggers you to act out sexually. You make mistakes. You don't care. You're reckless. Bipolar people have a higher tendency to become addicts because we thrive on that artificial high, because our
Right.
brains have taught us that those mania episodes of highs, we feel so great. And drugs or alcohol can often
Replicate that.
replicate that when we're in a depressive state. But usually, after a good manic high, you are hit with a bout of depression that will throw you in the bed for days on end. You won't care
Wow.
about anything. You don't feel anything. Um, that is often the times because we're like, wait, we were just so great. What happened? Why are we now not okay? What is
Right.
going on? And it often will trigger hospitalizations, overdoses, self mutilation, because we're trying to replicate and find that up again, and we're not understanding why suddenly it was just snatched away. And it
Wow.
can last for days on end. And a lot of the times, certain medications, if it's not the right combination of medications, will make everything worse. A lot of people with bipolar disorder think all I need is an antidepressant. No. No, you have to have a mood stabilizer to level off the manic episodes, to neutralize everything, to stabilize. You have to control the highs just as much as you have to control those lows.
Wow.
And unfortunately, sometimes mania comes in the form of extreme aggression. Um, when we feel attacked,
Mm-hmm.
our mental state of we're invincible will translate into fuck around and find out,
Yeah.
because I will hurt you.
Yeah.
Um, I isolate if I'm depressed to a certain extent, or if I feel like I'm making too many risky decisions on a high. I will isolate, and that is literally for everyone else's safety. It's not for mine. I isolate to protect other people because my mouth don't have a filter, and if you push too hard, my hands are flying,
Yeah.
and that makes us a little bit dangerous. Bipolar disorder is up there with schizophrenia. We qualify if we choose to. We don't have to work. We can file and get disability for bipolar disorder due to the fact that a lot of the times bipolar people have a hard time keeping jobs because we're
Yeah.
reckless,
The
or
social
we get
environment.
depressed and we take to bed. We can't function as effectively as we need to. I've chosen not to go that route. It
Mm-hmm.
took years and years and years of trying different medications
To
to
get the right
get me
combo.
to that place, and then I still have
Yeah.
it's not always effective. No.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what, the fact that you come here and you offer your insights, I'm grateful for that because, I honestly, listening to what you're saying, I'm not so sure that I don't have it because that I experience a lot of that. And, just like this weekend when I said I was binging, man, it's just because I couldn't really get up to do anything else. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, and you've seen me. I've been on here and been like, yeah, you know what I mean? And maybe, you know what? I'm like, holy shit, is that me? You know what I mean? Because I'm like, that I get like that, and it's very interesting. Now, see me, I'm so old school because I won't take a pill for it. Maybe I should, but I'm not going to because I'm like, you know what? I'm 54. I'm halfway done with this shit anyway. If I'm not on something by now, I ain't getting on nothing.
Right.
It's like, wow, Jess, that's I don't like something controlling me like that. Has there ever been any cases where, or that you know of, that where it has been like self-healed without medication?
Um, I have attempted to not do medications. I have attempted it. It does not go so well for me. But a lot of it's also the fact that I have babies watching me. I have my kids.
Right.
So sometimes you have to do not necessarily,
I
you
know where you're
know,
going with it.
it's good, but sometimes you have to do what's necessary to protect your children
Yeah.
because there's no worse feeling than knowing your kids are afraid of you. And I've been in
Yeah.
that situation where my kids have been afraid of me and or they're extremely sad because I'm extremely sad. And
Yeah.
you have to be willing to say, all right, I'm going to do what's absolutely necessary.
I got to change this shit for them. I'm not in
Right.
control of it, and let me get some help with it. Nothing wrong with that.
Now, I was a rare case, as in most of the time, people with bipolar disorder aren't diagnosed until their mid 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I was 14 and I was diagnosed after an overdose at 14. 14 is the first time I was dropped off on my mom's porch, so drunk I couldn't function. And then they put me on. Once that they took me to the hospital for the overdose, and unfortunately, it went south because some of the questions they ask aren't fair or necessary. And when you're already in that fragile state of mind after that, I was asked to like name the first 10 presidents backwards and just random stuff. And when I couldn't, it was, we think she might be schizophrenic. She might be
What?
dangerous. And in my head, I literally, honest to God, spazzed out, picked up a lamp and tossed it at their damn head. Like, you think I'm crazy? I will show you some crazy. Here we go.
Right. Right.
And I was locked up for a month.
Wow.
I was removed from the actual emergency room that I was in, and I was shackled at my wrists, and I was shackled at my
At
ankles
14?
like a criminal.
At
Yes,
14.
I was wheeled out of the hospital with handcuffs on my wrists and my ankles, and considered extremely dangerous. I was listed for 2 weeks in the psychiatric hospital with suicidal and homicidal tendencies because I threw a lamp because I was upset. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of times it goes bad, and we're not exactly treated fair, and it's assumed it's something completely opposite of what is going on. And so people need to take the time to try to understand, or to try to see things that are happening, and realize there's different variations of mental illness,
Yes.
and
Different levels.
attacking and coming at you isn't going to help. It will make things worse if you don't approach people with mental illness with kindness and respect. And I mean, a lot of times people don't understand it.
Yeah.
People, unless you're in that situation, it's hard to identify with things sometimes. But when you see
Yeah.
children in that kind of state of mind, you can't approach them as violent or aggressive or just run of the mill dangerous, because it backfires, and it's detrimental to their long-term health.
Which is one of the reasons I hate the medical system as we know it today. Not all doctors or not all hospitals or establishments are that judgmental and that just let's just throw this at it. But the majority of them are, because it's become a business anymore, and you're a number, and you're a hospital bed that we can get some money for. So it's like, are you getting the proper treatment though? Is the question. Are
Yep.
you being treated fairly? Is the question. Do you need,
Is what they're doing causing you more harm than
then
getting you
good.
better? Like what you just said about, shackling you up at 14, that's,
That pissed me off. I'm like,
I
imagine,
got in, by the way. Thank you.
yeah,
Thanks for letting.
imagine this 14-year-old girl, what she's thinking at that time. I mean, what were you thinking, Jess? Like, I can only imagine. And if you're willing to share,
It
what was going
it
through
did
your mind then?
it shut me down. I shut down, and I was only supposed
Did
to
you feel
be there
hopeless?
for 2 weeks. Yeah, and I ended up being there a month because I shut down to the point where I wouldn't participate in groups. I wasn't eating. I lost 15 pounds in 2 weeks because I wasn't eating. And then I was labeled high risk and combative. So then I had to, okay, participate and go through their motions. Therapy is a beautiful thing. Therapy is amazing and it works wonders for some people.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when I was released, I went into a therapist's office, and his first question to me was, "So, how old were you when you were molested?" That should never be anybody's first question to a 14-year-old, let alone any new patient that they are treating.
Right.
I never went back. I never went back. So
One
I
of the
did
things I was
it
going
all
to
on my own.
say, and thank you for being so honest. I said this in the chat,
Okay.
and sharing your experiences. It's so important. I feel like people throw around phrases like OCD and bipolar, or she's so this, she's so that, and they don't realize what it really is. So the more people like yourself that can come on and give us your, firsthand experience, so we understand where you started, where this came from, that you started experiencing it, and then the things that you've been through when they were trying to treat it, or whatever they were trying to do. It sounds like that caused more of a horrible experience for you that didn't heal you, but continued to create more anxiety.
Right.
I'm just glad you're still here. I'm glad you're still here and willing to share.
Well, some people take things and it goes the other way. It sounds like from us knowing you, we wouldn't know that you went through that. So you've done an excellent job for
Oh,
your family
it
and your
was
kids for
it
being
was
so.
bad. The first few years after all that happened, it was bad. I was a fall down drunk as a ninth and 10th grader. I was reckless. I drove my car into my mom's house and her car, two separate occasions.
Wow.
And when she came outside, I looked at her and said, "And what are you going to do about it?" And then I got in my car and I went to work. I had zero, I did not care. I was I was dismissed and poked and prodded and treated like a villain for something that was not within my control. And I felt very misunderstood and very hopeless. And in turn, I became very, very angry. And it took a long time for me to get to any type of place of willing to try and get
How did you
other
get
help.
to that place? How'd you get to that place?
Honestly, I got better, unfortunately, when I left my mother's house. I moved out of my mom's house when I was 17, and I left on Mother's Day. And I never went back.
Mother's Day.
So,
Hey,
and I think it's a lot because my dad and my mother are both bipolar. And therefore, those bipolar personalities clashed. And some of the stuff about the way we were raised and the way we were handled and the things that happened weren't okay. And once I left, I love my mom. And we work on a relationship daily. But for my mental stability, it was necessary to leave home.
For you to roll out. I get it. So, wow,
Sometimes
both your
it just
parents
takes.
are bipolar. So that almost guaranteed you the genetic inheritance of that then.
Right. Hi, Mark. Mark Howard. This is I love him very much. He helps
Mark.
whenever I'm struggling or going downhill.
Welcome.
He is always there for us.
Jamie said she's so proud of you and that we're all human. Sometimes we're just a little different, and that's okay. And it is so true. I don't think there's anybody who's not struggling. It's just what are our struggles, and internally, sometimes you're just looking for someone to understand. I mean, they don't have to understand exactly where you're coming from, but when you were 14, if you had just found that one person that would have at least allowed you to be you and understand you and not try to put you in a box like, oh, you have this, or put you on this medication, or ask you those crazy questions. Sometimes it just takes that one person. So everybody here who helps someone else who's struggling, it's so important for you to be there. And we're so thankful that you came on and are sharing this. Thank you so much.
It wasn't Mark's in my group, and I had told them that I wasn't going to speak about my stuff today. And then Dawn was like, "I do have a question." I was like, "Oh, okay." So
you're
helping so many people.
They can watch the repost later.
I'm gonna ask because I want to know because if I can, in any way just be there for you as a sounding board sometimes, that's coming from the heart. And it's like, there aren't enough spaces like this or platforms that will allow this. It's like, we can get in group discussions and talk about reality TV and all that kind of stuff. But the real stuff, the stuff that counts, the stuff that people can take with them in their day and in their lives and use and live a better quality of life until we die, because, that's inevitable. That's what this is all about. It's about living while we're here and living our best lives while we're here. And I'm so proud of you. Actually found a way to not only stay here, but get through it. And you did it so selflessly because you did it not just for you, but you did it for your kids. At the end of the day, it's got to be for you, because if you don't take care of you, you can't take care of your kids. But you, in finding the strength to do that, we're able to still be here. And you've affected Jenny's life, because now she's got a partner that, she can share her life with and be there for. And you be there for her when you're having your good times. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was brave of you to talk about it and to share with us, and I appreciate that. But yeah, I've always been curious about that. I've always been curious about that. And me, it's like with the doxy meditations that I always do and the subliminal healing that I do. I think that that has helped me deal with a lot of the depression issues that I dealt with the PTSD, with feeling like, wow, I had cancer, I almost died, and constantly being fixated on death, and I've come to terms with the fact that, number one, we are all going to go at some point, but do I have to deal with that every day of my life? No, I don't, and while I am here, I choose to be happy. And I think that that's what you did. You're like, you know what? I wasn't able to take myself out. I didn't go anywhere. So while I'm here, and I'm going to make the best of it. And you did, and you dug yourself out of that, and which I understand is still a daily grind. Guess what? It's still a daily grind for me with the PTSD.
Right.
Every
That's
time
one
you
of the
think you're
things
having a
that
good
you
time
taught
and
us.
you got to figure it out, then you realize, oh, wait a minute, I don't have it all figured out. And will I ever figure it out? No, you won't. But it's okay to talk it out and go day by day and take each day as it comes and just try to be the best
Yeah.
you can in each day.
Yeah.
Because that's really all you have.
Yeah, you
Figuring
have
that
to
out
be
can get
mindful of.
frustrating if you have a
Mhm.
day that you're not doing as well. But those are the
Right.
days that it's important that you kick and scream and you know that the next day is going to be better. You know what I mean? Like there sometimes with mental health, I feel like you do have it all. Sometimes you feel like I've got this figured out, and then you might have a day, but you have to be proud of yourself for where you've come to, and if you're getting through those periods of time quicker. Because I know, like you said, you've been through some stuff recently, but the way that you come out of it and you're talking and even helping other people now, I just feel like once we know the root cause, like where it kind of comes from, that's what helped me. And then the next part was even harder. Okay, I get it now, I've identified it. Now how do I get better for myself and those people, and that's where you are.
Oh,
You're doing a great job.
I will joke about it till, you know, but the fact is, I am a bipolar empathist. I'm empathetic to a fault sometimes. But I was having some really, really, really bad days. And we,
Here recently,
yeah. And personally, I feed off of others' emotions.
mm-hmm.
I can take pain and what's done to me, and I'll focus on myself, and I don't handle it well. But literally, if somebody calls or somebody else is having a bad time or needing help, I immediately smack myself in the face, put myself to the side, and jump to help them. And it refocuses me in some ways. Like, bitch, your problems aren't that bad. Someone need you. Get to it. Go help them. And sometimes that snaps me out of the funk I'm in by helping somebody else. And it's not
You say
necessarily the
that all the
healthiest
time.
because, yeah, I'll take
You
a hit
suppress
to
yourself.
myself, and I'll just deal with myself by myself. I don't want anybody to help. I don't want to let anybody in. I'll take the abuse or I'll take the sadness. But if I see it in somebody else, it's redirected. It's like,
That's
screw me,
huge,
I'm
dude.
going to help you. Yeah,
That's brave,
it
because
helps.
what
It's
you just
very, very.
admitted, yeah, and to get out of your own head to help somebody else. I do that a lot as well, and Jen does it too, because a lot of times when if she's having an OCD moment, or if I'm having a panic attack moment with like PTSD, it's like, she'll come out of her, and it's like, it's so crazy because I'll feel bad if I'm having a moment where I feel like, okay, I'm being overwhelmed by this death shadow again, and I'll say something to her and I'll start maybe getting the shakes or something, and she'll sense it, and she'll come to me and she'll be like, okay, you're okay. But I realize that in doing that, I also make her suppress whatever she's going through, and then I add to it, because then she thinks, God, what if something was happening? I could have lost her. Put her in that space, because then it'll set something off in her. And I know she does that with me. So it's a fine line when you open up, because that person's got to be strong enough to take it and then help you, and then deal with their own trauma behind.
It helps me when you open up, because I know what's going on. I'm the kind of person that would rather know what's going on and be able to help than
Me too.
see somebody struggling in silence. That's why, we tend to open up and have made like a pact to just go ahead and talk about something when it first happens, because it actually helps everybody.
If we feel like
all the way around,
you.
Makes me feel a heck of a lot better that I've gotten it out, because somehow it just makes things better when you talk to somebody about it, and then it makes you feel like get out of your own
because it's vibes
to help me, and I'm getting out of my head to help you. Like that way, maybe it does. What you said about that. Jess said something earlier when you said, "Hey, my thing is not that bad. I have to." It's not that everything is not that bad, but we realize when we have other people that need us and that we have to be there for them, we realize that every single one of us is struggling, and at this minute I can get, and it does, in a weird way, it makes you feel grateful for the situation you're in, to think about, hey, this is, someone else is dealing with this, and I can be there for them. It just all of a sudden puts you in the moment. I think that's what it's all coming back to. You know how you always say to be in the moment? Instead of you thinking about the past or the future of what could happen, or in my case, like doing this thing to make sure that my family's going to be okay, this OCD tendency or whatever, I'm opening closing this or whatever it is, and whatever, maybe if you're in a depressive state, if you're having an off day in your mental disorder and somebody else needs you, it immediately puts you in that moment where you're not thinking about everything in your head. You're thinking about, how can I help this person? And that's really selfless, and so like kind of.
But you got to go back and deal well too, because like she said, she'll go back and she'll deal with. She's like, just let me be in the pain. That's the brave part, because we have to. Struggles make you stronger. People, a lot of people don't tend to get that. It's like, don't be afraid of the struggle. Don't be afraid of the pain, because that actually makes you more resilient. Okay. And when you get more resilient, you start to actually heal from that. You realize, wow, I've gotten through that, and I've made it through yet again.
Mm-hmm.
So it lets you that you are a lot more resilient and a lot tougher than you think.
I completely agree, because for years it was, okay, screw me, I'm going to focus on the other people, and I still will. I mean, last week was really, really bad for me, but then someone needed me, and I did not care the time. I did not care how far I had to drive. I was there. I was making sure that they were okay and they were set. And I came back and realized I still had my issues going on. However, I had a stronger sense of, no, what's happening isn't okay. I'm not okay. I'm not going to bounce back as quickly as this time. This time I have to prioritize myself at some point as well. And
because if you think about it, you'll be able to be there more for other people if we can get ourselves right. You know what I mean? Because you actually will be, it, like you said, like Dawn says, we have to identify what's within ourselves and help us each day to be better. And that's the difficult part once you identify it. I really
awareness is key. A lot of people aren't even aware, you know what I mean? And it's like they go right into denial, and denial is not helping anything. I was talking about that Jessie Lawless earlier, but she said something about,
I love her so much.
Yeah, man. She has one that says sobriety is a lot more than being sober. It's about getting back to a place where you can build a life that you don't have to escape. I'm like, speak, bitch, because she's dude, what are you escaping? You know, you have to take a look at, why do I have to smoke that weed? Why do I have to drink that wine? Why do I have to take that drug? Why am I escaping? What is it about my life that I can't just go through a day? I have to medicate in some way. Like, what is going on? You know, because we weren't born having to medicate unless you got some kind of illness. Things have happened to us in life mentally, and a lot of people don't put enough stress on mental health. Everybody's always about the physical. All right, go vegan, not, you know, go vegan, let's eat vegetables, let's work out. What about this shit here? What about this? Because without this, none of this matters. It can be the healthiest body in the world, but if your mind ain't right, the body will fall. It will fall victim to what is going on in the mind. You know, you think you're going to be sick, you know? So it's like, you have to treat the mind first, you know? And my hope is that if you have to continuously medicate, one day you can get to a point where you don't have to medicate and you can just listen to a few subliminal things and you walk and you're better. You know, and I hate anybody having to depend on clinical medicine in order to cure themselves, but it is what it is. And if it has to happen that way initially, then so be it. But it would be so cool to get to a point where you didn't need that, like the diabetics that go vegan and come off of all their medications. You can too. You know?
And if you think about it, everything starts with your mind. Like, even what you eat, because we don't just randomly eat. Even talking about going all the way as deep as like picking up a piece of food or deciding what you're going to drink, everything starts with the mind. That's why our mind has so many files in it, and it's ultimately the decision maker over what we do to our body, you know? So it is the first thing that we always have to start with.
And if you dig even deeper, subliminally, your subconscious mind is controlling your conscious mind. So
and
when we go in,
most of our issues.
yeah, and if you go in and dig the weeds out of that garden, then you'll start to see the flowers come up a little bit more straight on the outside when you're awake. You know?
Yeah.
That's what happened to, you know, that's what happened to me. And it still happens to me, you know. Every day I have to make sure that right now is the way that I self-medicate. I constantly feed my subconscious while I'm sleeping. You know, thoughts that direct me while I'm awake. And I realized that it has curbed a lot of my ups and downs. You know, it's gotten me to a place I'm more on an even keel. And when I do feel things like panic attacks coming on, like, you know, I can have an irregular heartbeat every now and then because I have a heart murmur. And if my heart jumps, that used to send me into a frenzy. Like, what the hell was that? Why did that happen? You know, I heard people about the heartbeat thing. And it's like, you know, it would send me off into a spiral. Now when it happens, I just do that. All right, let's keep it moving. I drop. You know what I mean? And I don't go through the whole rabbit hole of thoughts that I went through before. So I know some kind of way I'm healing, I'm getting better, you know, and if I can do it, other people can do it. But, you know, it's an OCD and it's not bipolar and it's not this and it's not that. All these things are different. So you got to treat them in different ways, you know?
Exactly. Everybody, there's different levels of different issues, and everybody's circumstances and situations are unique. Yeah. We're all built different, mentally, physically. There is nothing about us that is the exact same as
fits all.
Right.
There is no one size fits all when it comes to mental health.
And sometimes you just have to figure out, you know, what best works for you. Some people it's therapy, some people it's medications, some people it's time alone, sometimes it's just
listening to shit when you're sleeping.
Right.
You know,
I found, you know, a group of people that if they've helped me. A couple months ago, lost my shit and could have killed myself or some people. And it was bad. And it was very scary. And I promised them that I wouldn't do that again. And I've worked effortlessly to make sure. But I've slipped back into some bad thoughts and bad times. And I'm working on it. And talking to those people help. And talking to y'all has helped. And telling a little bit about my story helps. If we learn to not judge, to take into consideration what other people are going through, but give ourselves grace. Give ourselves enough grace to fail, to stumble, to make mistakes. As long as we bounce back and try, that's what matters. As long as we are trying to be good people and we're, just making a conscious effort.
Truer words were never spoken.
That's what
imagine how many people that might be listening to this or that might listen to the replay. Because I know sometimes it's depending on what time of day it is, how many people, especially someone like you who really likes to, and feeds off of helping other people so much because you have that kind soul. Think about telling your story, how many people that might be sitting there thinking that they're the only ones that struggle with this, or hey, I thought that I was the only one that might have went through that as a child, and the people that they self identify now and feel like there's somebody out there who kind of gets it. We all have a different situation, but somebody who gets it. That's why I love being in settings where everybody can open up and not judge and feel, like empowered. And like you said, it's everybody wants to be perfect. Let's put it that way. I hate when I make a mistake or I forget something or I feel like I've let somebody down because I didn't do this or that or I forgot to do something at work. Whatever the case is, it is not the best feeling, but I've had to learn that, hey, you know what? Like Jamie said early, we are only human. I've got a lot going on. Sometimes you have to give yourself the okay, and realize this is me, this is who I am. Like the stream said, I know we took it to a whole new level, but it's the same thing. Don't apologize for being yourself. We've all were born with a set of circumstances. We're all handling them as best we can, and I love that our main goal is just to be in the moment, be happy, focus on the people who are in your life and do the best at everything you can. Whether it's one day you're doing really good or sometimes like when I'll say to Dawn, like, man, I was having such a good day with my OCD and then something just went crazy, and she's like, but it's okay, because now that moment's already gone. Now we're on to the next moment. Like you said, you're here talking to us about how you had a bad couple of days. There might be a time when you would be in that zone and not even here talking and helping us to understand. You know what I mean?
Like
it's all
last week, I definitely missed you last week because you're a huge part of this stream, and I backed off because I realized I could tell. Look, this is so funny because I'm talking about watching Manifest, and there's this new superpower that Zeke has where he can empathetically relate to whoever he's looking at, and I feel like I did that, and I'm like, okay, she needs some her time. You know what I mean? Don't push. You know what I mean? Let her deal. She'll come back around and talk. She's ready, and I just felt that.
Everybody that's in here can go back and watch this post on the replay after it's done and catch it from the beginning. But that's what I did. I wasn't here, but I was here. I went back and I watched
you were here
the recaps and I did it again. I tried to make appearances.
Jamie represented.
But yeah, sometimes you just need that time. And thank you all. So you'll see some new faces in here. These are my family, Mark and James and Clarissa.
Oh, I see James. Hey, thank you guys.
They have become a very critical part of my life in the last several months. And
Shout out to Mark and James and Clarissa for subscribing, because they would have had to be able to get in the chat. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you and welcome.
I'm sitting here trying not to cry. I went through all that personal shit and did not cry. I went through
It's all good,
dumb
girl.
shit
You better cry.
and
You better let that.
Cry it out.
You
Cry it out.
gotta filter. You gotta filter, Jess. Let it through. You know, that's what we're here
But
for.
they've helped me, and especially Mark and James. They seen me hit bottom, and they were on the phone with me when it happened. They literally tracked me down. They're not even in the same state as me, and they were able to isolate and figure out where I was and get somebody to me quickly. So they literally saved my life a few months ago. So
that's pretty awesome, guys. That's pretty awesome.
You.
And thank you for saving her life selfishly for all of us, because she has blessed all our lives, just as I'm sure everybody in the chat has had the same situation happen. So with Jess,
I mean, we all stumble and we all fail, and I swear to God, it pisses me off knowing that I've stumbled or I've let anybody down. It pisses me off to no end, but that's where
take care of yourself. That's not letting anybody down. That's helping everybody, you know?
You have to give yourself enough grace to fall sometimes and just have the confidence
that's huge.
You'll be able to bounce back, and that the people around you can help you bounce back. You have to
the fact that you've internalized that. The fact that you've internalized that shows you that you're healing. Because if you're, so far gone that you can't understand to give yourself grace and that you're human and that you've got to give yourself time and realize that everybody falls, everybody. I don't care what they say. Everybody has moments where they fall from grace. And there's no way that you're going to go through life. That's what life is. Life is a series of ups and downs. Life throws you shit. Do you think I expected to wake up one day and couldn't see? It's like, I don't want that disability check. I want my fucking eye back. You know what I mean? And it's like, you can't, what was I going to do? Crawl up and in a hole and die because anymore? No, it's like, you got to move on. You have got to, when something is afflicting you, you've got to find the strength. And the only place you can truly find that strength, other people can help, but the only place that you really find it is within. Because if you wanted to truly take yourself out, that proves you didn't want to. Because goddamn it, when we want something, we do it. So you didn't want to leave. You didn't want to leave, and God, that you're successful. Because at the end of the day, look how many lives, those young lives that depend on you, and you're there for them, and the people that are around you that need you, and you're here for them. So it wasn't meant for you to take yourself out. But if you really wanted to, would have. So that shows you wanted to fight. You had that fight in you, and will do. That's why I hate when people take themselves out without getting help. They're cheating the world of who they could have been, for not just for themselves, but for the world. It's not all about just you contribute. We're all here to contribute, we're all here to contribute.
Right. And I think subconsciously there was a part of me that knew that I needed somebody. Because if you really don't want to be found, and you really don't care, and you really don't want anybody, I wouldn't have been on the phone. There was a part of me in my subconscious, even in the mental state I was in, that knew I needed them. And they've read.
Why? What do I say? Just is its own entity. The subconscious is its own entity.
Yeah. They knew right off the bat that something was wrong. They called. I answered. And
if you didn't want that help, you wouldn't have answered.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thanks for answering. Thank you guys for calling.
Yes.
And reaching
I
out,
think it's like it's so much easier, I think, sometimes when, especially when you're somebody that is used to, like you said, I can just suck it up, I can just take it, I can deal with things on my own, and it is harder for people like that to reach out and to accept and get help. Like I'm a helper. I'd rather give help and help others than be helped. However, that's the hard part. That's when you know you're strong, when you can reach out and let someone help you. And it's like, okay, I need to get this out right now, or I need this person. I'm not going to ignore this call, or I'm not going to not have this conversation, because ultimately it does help. Not in the heat of it, even at the beginning, it's like, man, I just want to, deal with this and get through this. And that's what I was saying. That's why we're all so proud of you for coming on and talking, and thank you, Dawn, for having this platform, because I know it's helped me. I haven't even, you know, I don't, yeah, I really feel like you said, things happen at the right time. I wasn't dealing with a lot of these issues
mm-hmm.
until I was in my mid 40s. So the fact that this stream is even existing to be able to get these things out, it's like the universe puts people and things in your
Yeah.
life to really help you through. So I'm so proud of you, Jess, and thanks to all these new members here, that have come in. James, Mark, Clarissa. Um, I'm just so glad you all are here. Thank you for being here to
Yeah, like when we talked
support
a
you.
couple weeks ago about family and build, sometimes it's not about blood. It's the family that you build. This
Yep.
this is the family that I built. And you see it's midday and they are here. So that is,
Midday motivated, baby. And we are now at
Jeannie, thank
594.
you too. I see all your comments. I want to reply. Oh, how many? 594?
594, yeah. So we're
Wow,
pushing
and I'm
towards
getting
that
ready to turn
1,000 mark.
94
we got
Thank you, Jen,
in
with the
like
jokes.
50
Jen
some
always
more
knows
years.
how to lighten a moment, right?
right.
I don't care what
God,
she's going
please.
through. She
That's
always
why
says,
y'all should be
Jasmine,
I
because look,
brought
I'm
the heavy
94.
today.
thank
That's
you
right. We
so
need
much,
to
Jess,
balance
for
it out,
bringing.
right?
Thank you, Jess, for bringing in some new folks and letting them share. And guys, I put the link in there because you guys are more than welcome to come up and say anything in your mind as well. As an open forum here. That's why I always put the link in that somebody wants to come up and talk about what they're going through and see, if there's anything that they can offer to somebody who may be listening, and that's why we do. That's why it's called the Midday Motivated, because we need something to keep us motivated. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of stuff in this world that is crashing down on us and bringing us down, and the more positive things we have to kind of combat that and offset that, we'll begin to heal as a world.
And sometimes it's not even just, the happy, positive stuff. Sometimes you need to listen and hear the hard stuff. Sometimes you need to
Gotta
hear
do it.
the shit that's going to put you in your feels. The stuff that's
Yep.
like hitting you at heart. It's like I'm not that religious, but I used to be. And you know that feeling when you go into church and you feel like that message was directed right at your ass and you needed
Yep.
to hear it. It makes
Mhm.
you uncomfortable. It hurts your feelings, but you
But
need
you
to
walk
hear
out
it.
of there a new person. You
Yep.
always walk
And
out
some
of there a new person.
that's what some of these middays have done for me. Like, dude, I didn't think about it
Yeah.
that way. She's absolutely right. Maybe I should be looking at things a little bit differently. That's why, I mean, I didn't have an issue sharing my story. I don't open up a lot about it because, I mean, you kind of, and that's the other thing with mental health. You get labeled as that.
Yeah.
I was the bipolar girl that almost died in ninth grade. The rest of the year, I was not looked at any differently. That whole year, I was the crazy girl that got locked away. And people need to be a little bit more self-aware when you're looking down on people because
Yeah.
you don't want to be looked down on when you're struggling. You don't
Nope.
think about it. Listen, ask them questions, ask them about, you know, their stories. You might relate to those people more than you actually understand.
We all got some
You
shit
can
going
be
on.
hidden people. Yeah,
Yeah.
we all got some
We all
crap.
got some stuff going on. And it's people like you and everybody who's here in the chat, those of us that are willing to talk about it and let it out and not take whatever you're going to think about me and hey, whatever it is, it is. I'm still putting it out there. Because quite frankly, it's not that I don't care what you think, but whatever you think does not make me better or worse. So I got to put it out there so I can self heal. You know what I mean? And you can't worry about what people are saying and thinking because they're going to say and talk and think what they're going to do anyway. But as long as you get the help you need by venting, remember we did the stream about changing your frequency,
Yes.
and that
I cried the
stream,
whole way to Candace's doctor appointment that day. That frequency thing, that got me.
yeah, that frequency is huge because what you're doing is you're taking control and you're like you're your own radio. And when you get on that bad vibe and that bad frequency, because that's what we literally are. We are energy. Our body is simply covering it up. So if that lets you know that's intangible, that is literally until you can't touch it, taste it, smell it, but you can change it just simply by changing your thoughts and changing your feelings, change that frequency. And there's things that you can do, whatever makes you happy, you can go to that usually in those moments and change that frequency. Sometimes it doesn't work, but if you don't at least try, you're doing yourself a disservice. Change your frequency, you know. I think I'll do another version of that because that's huge and try to go even a little deeper with it. Maybe that's what we'll do tomorrow.
Right. And I mean, we all have our baggage. We all have our shit shows to go on. And it's not always as easy as we want it to be. But talking about it and listening and
Helps.
having empathy helps. But that is just to me the biggest thing is check your ego, bro. Don't look down on people. Don't think you are better than anybody. Who the hell are you to
Fact.
think that you are better than me? All right, you didn't try to, close your chapter when you were 14, but I'm pretty sure you
Yeah.
got some skeletons in your closet you don't want anybody to know about. Don't you
Fact.
look down on anybody. You don't know what anybody's going through. Like,
That
keep
is a
keep
key
your
thing right there that you said too, because sometimes even if you don't know at this moment what someone's going through, you don't, as you get older, you realize that you might go through something and look back and say, oh wow, that might have been what they were thinking at that time because we experience different things in different stages of our life. And so you
Mm-hmm.
have to give people you may not understand what they're going through, but if they're going through something, you have to be empathetic to it because it's not for you to necessarily understand if you weren't given that same set of
And
circumstances
how
or
can
had
you
those
judge
same
what
set of
you don't
trials.
understand?
People do it all the
How can
time
you
though,
judge what you don't
unfortunately.
understand? It's like how do you think you have the power to do that just because you're walking around with a Bible in your hand?
This
Because you'll find that a lot of judges are sitting in the churches. Really, you know,
you know
that's one of the reasons I don't go. And I went a lot as a kid, but
oh,
I got
That's the people that are supposed to be caring and nurturing sometimes that can throw you off too if it's somebody who shouldn't be judging and they are. But I was saying this too, don't forget in our daily lives to if somebody's doing something to remember that it might not be something that's directed at you, that you have no idea what's going on in their life. Just like they have no idea what's going on in your life, sometimes you can always take things more personally too without reaching out and saying to somebody, hey, are you okay? Not just, hey, oh, they're not talking to me, or they didn't do this and they said they were going to. Sometimes you might be dealing with someone who's having a moment or a day or has mental
Yeah.
health issues, so we can't always judge books by their cover. And this isn't like directed at anyone, but it's just like overall, I've noticed we live in a cruel kind of world where a lot of people, the first thing is to get angry at another person before they really
Yeah.
can get in and think about, hey, I wonder what they're dealing with. I see how it affects me, what just happened, but like we were talking about, even in the grocery store, the cashier, if they're maybe not as friendly as they were the last time you were there, it's probably not that they're mad that you're in their line. It might be something going on completely separate from you or the job. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's just about being empathetic, and I think having gratitude and understanding that other everybody struggles. And I think you coming on here telling your story, and Dawn, you opening this up, telling everything that goes on with you and how you've overcome it. I feel like us all and everybody that's here being so supportive is letting people know that, hey, okay, I see what's going on with them. Hey, this is going on with me. Maybe it'll make the world all a more kind place to be in and a more understanding and supportive place to live in.
And overcoming.
Right.
I haven't overcome. I'm overcoming.
Yes. Well, the
I'm
little
still
our little
dealing.
goals, I'm
I'm
going
still
to say
dealing.
overcome.
Right. We're
Still
all
You
dealing.
are
works
our
in
teacher.
progress.
You know everything.
Yeah.
That's it. My,
Mm.
it's like I won't. I think I'm gonna start ending each stream with this phrase because I'll never ever forget it. Because Mary Tyler Moore said that you never learned to be brave if you've only had wonderful things happen to you. That's
Yep.
huge.
Amen.
She said it all when
Without
she said that.
struggles, there's no triumphs. I don't think, yeah, without the struggles and the battles, there's no wins and there's no triumphs. You do
Yep.
not appreciate the great in your life if it's always been great. If it's always
Yeah.
been easy, if you've never had struggles, you don't appreciate it. You don't really appreciate when you do have the great things.
Salt
But
and pepper.
if there's people out there thinking that, oh, I got it great, my life is perfect, someone might be lying to themselves a little bit because none
Just a
of us
little.
are perfect and nobody's home life is top notch. There's something going on somewhere in your life, whether it's relationships within yourself, work. I mean, we've all got shit going on. So I don't
That's it.
understand the premise of pretending to be perfect. Give yourself that grace. You need it.
Mm,
You deserve it.
that's right. You go, girl. Ow! I'm ready.
I feel like that's
Listen,
something we
on
learn
a
over
lighter.
time. I think people that don't realize that everybody makes mistakes, and sometimes if you just say it, it's going to make you feel better, and it's going to make them understand and think you're human. You know what I mean? Like no one wants to be like, "Oh, you know what? Yeah, I messed up." It's hard
Oh,
to do. That's harder
yeah,
than
it's
hiding that
such.
you messed up,
Who
right?
wants who
Sometimes.
wants to be like, oh my God, yeah, I was an asshole. My bad.
Right.
Nobody wants to admit that. But
Right,
at the
right.
same time, don't be the asshole that refuses to acknowledge your mess ups. That makes
That
you
you're
an
an
even
asshole.
bigger asshole.
You know, every now and then, it's like, if I find that I get a little snappy or something, or I yell at menu or something, and it's like, if I feel like I've come off a certain way at Jen, because I try very careful not to do that because she's such a loving person. I know I can be a bitch when I want to be, but I don't cross that line with her. But if I do get a little bit, I'm like, hey, was I an asshole earlier? If I was, I'm sorry. You know what? Because that's my baby girl. So she's like, no, man. It's like, it's like, okay, I just want to, I got to keep myself in check,
And
man.
to see, that's where you have that self awareness about yourself. There's some people that are just like, oh, I was an ass, but I ain't saying
Oblivious.
anything until someone else tells me I was an ass. And then I'm going
Right.
to give a half assed apology because,
I got called
I
out.
don't want to admit. Yeah, I don't want to own this. I don't want to own that. Own it.
Own
Don't do
it.
the sorry. Sorry doesn't always cut it. Freaking apologize. Mean it. When you think about your actions and think about the repercussions that are coming, you'll be able to say, hey, did I overstep? Did I hurt you? And that will make you much better person. And it'll help all of your relationships if you can hold some kind of accountability within yourself. There is
Yeah.
nothing wrong with apologizing. There is nothing wrong with owning up to your mess. There is nothing wrong with being honest. We are all faulted. We
Yep.
all have flaws.
And there's nothing wrong with missing. Just like you said, own up to it. You're going to fall. You're not going to say everything perfectly all the time to everybody. But you know what? It's not you to do that. We're all human, you know? And you can't control what somebody's going to react to. I remember one time when we were doing our business, we went into this place that we would get copies made. And I don't know what was going on in this lady's day, but, you know, even now, you know, I'm going to forgive her in that, even though it was years ago. You know, all of a sudden this one day, and we used to joke all the time, this woman gave me like an aloe plant because I like growing aloe. And we were cool, right? This one day we come in and we're like, yeah, we wanted to try to get these copies made. And she's like, well, I can't do it right now, you know. You just expect me to just drop everything and just do your stuff. Never once did we ever ask her to do that or come off that way. And this one day I chose to say, geez, what are you on your period today?
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you talk to people? Now, mind you, another day I would have said that, and she would have laughed it off. So that one day, no matter what I said, and I apologized for it. She never talked to us again, even to this day. She never talked to us again. Actually ended up in the long run saving us money because we got better printing online, cheaper in color. But, you know, I think back to that, and I think,
why you said
wow,
it, so you can get a better print price.
No, did she take that and run with that forever? So
that's
let her live in that
you can know
shit.
somebody,
I'm not gonna
but
do
you
it.
don't know somebody because you can know. And
who
I'm a
was
person,
real?
but I joke
Who was
around
real?
a lot, so I have to really be careful with that because I have a tendency to have a personality that I can handle. Like if somebody's coming at me, like, you know.
But check this out. It was because after she became the owner of the store, this happened. Was she? That was a real person. Was once she got a little out, that's what side came out. So I realized that the other person that we knew was the fake.
It was
the
Aaron.
It wasn't the Roy.
Remember that?
Yeah.
From,
Primal Fear. If you ever hear us say that, Primal Fear, man. There never was an Aaron.
And James, you're correct, brother. Yeah, sometimes it helps to hear what other people are saying. Brother said you never know what people are going through and talking about it, how it could really help someone else. Sometimes hearing from someone else's point of view or what they went through and how can help and give them hope. That's the only reason why I ever talk about myself. That's the only reason why I agreed to talk to Dawn and do this today. Is because you never know.
Hopefully, in helping somebody, you've probably touched so many people by doing that, and by you having her on here. I'm really excited about that, and hopefully, it helps you some too.
Absolutely, I appreciate it,
and
just I mean, if we can help,
thank you.
Anybody, just one person is worth. If we reach one person, if we touch one life, then that's what matters.
We don't know what that person's going to contribute to the world, So yeah, it doesn't matter
if it's one person. Need them.
If it's that one person, that one person might be contributing something that we don't even know, and because they got better by listening to us talk our issues out, we in some way helped,
Or maybe they realize, hey, maybe I've got this going on. Maybe I should have something looked at, or
I'm not going to the doctor, Jess. I'm not doing it, damn it. But that did scare the shit out of me. Wow, dude. What? Okay, all right. But see, that's where my mind goes. I'm like, hey, no, I'm not gonna do it. But yeah, this was a real one. This was a real one. The mania shit that got me. I'm like, oh my god, that's me. That's
It,
me. That's
that's
me.
a scary thing, man. You think it's all peaches and cream having those invincible
There's a
moments,
reason
but those
why I
invincible
have to
moments.
there's a reason why I have to subliminally heal every night. What is that from? Why is my brain stuck on whatever it's stuck on? That's so funny that you phrase that way. It's like, is that my default? Why can't I stay up? But nobody can. Nobody can, and that's okay. That's why I always struggle to get to. I don't always struggle to get to happy, 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 happy. No, I don't want to be down here or here or here. I want to be here, and it's like I want to enjoy the happiness, but I want to, when those lows come, be able to balance it out and just stay kind of on an even keel and just enjoy. Like, peace is more important than happiness to me. Peace is cool because fucked up shit can be going on, and as long as you're at peace and in an acceptance state and a state of, okay, I'm taking each moment as it comes, hit me, then you can deal with it. It's going to come, it's going to come. But if you're in a state of where you are resilient and you have your armor on and you are mentally just, okay, I can handle this, then hey, you'll deal with it in that moment and you'll be fine and you'll move through it like everything else. And then the next day will come, and that process will get easier and easier and easier.
Right.
The more you got to do it, though, and it's going to be practice. I get it as practice. Every time I get a screwed up thought or I start getting that PTSD happening, I'm like, okay, here's another practice session. What do you got for me? And I was Jen and I were talking the other day, and I said, listen, I've gotten to a point where I don't beat myself up anymore about that. I don't say, damn it, why the fuck are you think like that? Why? I don't beat mine. What are you doing? No, it's like, okay, you want to go there? What did I tell you about that? Okay. It's like I've gotten to a point where I have to joke it off. It's like, oh, okay. We're not going there today. Okay. All right. I'm staying on this track. You good? All right. Good. Don't mind. I'm doing that. I'm like, okay, I see where you want to go with that, but guess what? I don't feel like it. So let's let that go. It's just a thought that you're trying to have. Why are you doing that anyway? Okay.
Right.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense. Let's let that go. And I'll move on. And some days it works, some doesn't. But don't beat yourself up. You're a human being. You are a work in progress, like Jess said, like we all are. So stay on that even keel.
Right. And
Happiness is overrated.
don't be afraid to talk about it. If you're struggling or you're unsure of something, go to somebody, ask someone, talk to someone. Everybody
Talk it
has
out.
a person that they can feel safe with and just be like, look, what the hell is happening right now? And process it out loud. Sometimes just talking out loud makes you completely, you'll
It
get that
really takes
epiphany
an
moment while
outlook.
you're talking. You're
Yeah,
like,
it happens
wait,
to me all the time. You guys have seen it happen to me on here a couple of times where but the thing is sometimes and this is a weird thing too, sometimes the people closest to you might be the hardest people to talk to in some
right.
situations. But once you
Mhm.
really open up and you realize that they're okay with you being you, like you don't have to hide that from them. They love you for who you are. They're not going you might think that you sound crazier than you are, I guess is where I'm going with it. Like sometimes I'll get out what's in my head and I'm like, wow, I'm so glad that I can talk to you about this, that I can talk to Dawn and that she will understand now where I'm coming from, because the people that are closest to you are the most important to talk to have them understand what you're going through, because it's going to help them really in their situation too, to be able to help become more empathetic for you and to be able to understand it. I think we lost Jesse. But yeah, don't we both kind of do that, Don? We come up with an epiphany while I'm talking. Like it happened on this show when we were talking before, when you were talking about your fear of death, and I traced it back, and I was like, wait, I think that's where all that fear and worry came from,
Yeah.
not wanting to have that experience that I had when I was 19, that feeling of losing someone close to me. I now want to have that control that I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen, whether it means I'm checking on them 100 times a day or I'm doing this and that OCD wise to prevent those thoughts from, from even coming in. If I do
And the true healing comes from accepting that it is going to happen and that
yep,
you're going to be fine when it does because you were
accepting
fine
the
before. Look what
unknown.
Yeah, look what happened after we met. My grandmom died, your grandmom died. But look what happened after that. We met. We became a part of each other's lives. Life goes on.
And it's
And it's
important to
sometimes
live in the now with the people that are around. And,
that are around now. What's that statement that
exactly.
Mark Howard said?
And
Mark,
remember their spirits.
feel free to come up with the 9 virtues. If you want to click the link and share those 9 virtues, I'm down with it.
Mark, if you want to come up. Oh, he said there's a big delay in the comments. LOL.
Yeah, yeah, James said there was a delay. Yeah. There's a
Okay.
little bit of a lag sometimes. Also, I think
Yeah.
most of us are like on our phone. I can't see the comments very well.
Yeah.
Don has
There's
some
there's a
eyesight.
good there's a
Mark
good
said,
10-second lag. I noticed that like when I'm doing my little intro and the countdown is on, there's a 10-second lag between what I'm seeing on the screen and what's actually across on YouTube. Literally, the timer has shown me there's at least 10 seconds difference. So I'm like, okay,
if
that's interesting.
everybody would live by the simple 9 virtues that I have found that I live by, the world would be a lot better place. I know Jess has those virtues. I know everybody in my family has those virtues. That's really cool. I had to read it again. I had to
What
read through
James
that.
say right below that?
So he said, you never know what you went through and talking about it, how it could really help someone else. Sometimes hearing from someone else what they went through and how they got help can give them hope. Exactly. Because it can feel hopeless, the situation you're in, but seeing that someone came through, you might not be ready at that moment or even see how it's possible, but knowing that someone else got through it and got better at least helps to know that it's possible because that's what a lot of people I think when we talk about physical things like, oh, I have a cold, and you can talk to somebody else, and they're like, oh yeah, because I have a cough, I have this. Not me anymore, because my plant based thing. But I'm gonna plug that later. But most people, what a cold is, and people experience the same symptoms. I have a cough, I get it, I know what a cough is. Mental health is so different because
Right.
someone can say I'm bipolar, but it could mean a ton of different things. I could say I'm OCD, but that's a ton of different subcategories that could be, or
PTSD,
something
same
that
thing.
nobody else. It's like
Yeah.
snowflakes of mental health. Like there's no, you can kind of identify. So the best thing we can do is just be empathetic. That hey, I know what I deal with in this head, so I know what you must be dealing with
The
on your end.
snowflakes of
Let me know about it.
mental health. Did you just say that? That's
I
huge.
did. Because you said that on the stream the other day that we're all different, we're all like snowflakes. And I thought about it. That's what I did not like when I was studying psychology about the DSM 4, whatever the book was. I don't know if it's still on 4 now. But it was like they wanted you to take somebody, hear one thing, and box them in a category and then give them this certain medicine. I felt like it was a churn and burn starting to be. And I'm like, that's not getting to the root cause. It's like what we always talk about health issues. If you don't get stop what you're eating that's causing the problem, you're never going to get rid of it with whatever medication. So like the therapy I know is so important, and medication to manage the mental health and get through, to be able to get to therapy or to want to even talk to someone. I think people use medication for, to, because it's like when you're in that scenario, you might need something to get you to that point, but it should all be getting you to get to the root cause and help get yourself mentally to where you can deal with it, and to where
Yeah,
you're in a better place for yourself and other people. This is like one of the most important streams I think that's on the air right now. That's
cool.
on YouTube, really. to get these
This
issues
is the
out.
place to be.
It's a place for me to be. I need my
Right.
therapy.
And
We
Mark
didn't give
said that
Oh, go ahead, Jess.
What you
Mark
say?
said that he'll give us a he's going to send me a copy of his 9 virtues. He's Norse pagan, so it's 9 virtues to live by, and he works to help anybody that he gets involved with. So I'll get those to you ladies, and y'all can review them. I actually think that those would probably be a good idea too for a future podcast.
I was
Um,
thinking that. That's why I wanted him to come up and talk about it. But if you get those over to me, we can do those and go over them. What about tomorrow?
let's see where he's at. Mm-hmm.
Or it's no, it doesn't have to be tomorrow, but at some point this week, I would love to do a stream on it because it sounds like something that would be pretty interesting.
We call him Santa. It's very weird calling him Mark, but yeah, he's our papa. He's a stabilizing force for a lot of us. He listens
Nice.
and he doesn't judge, and he takes everything into consideration. He's very, I'm going to get both sides. You might as well talk to me.
Yeah.
That's Mark.
That's how you got
Right.
cool
But
beans. It sounds like Mark's
yeah.
in the right place. See what
Jamie
the
said I've been
universe
wanting to
does?
say Santa.
Yeah.
Santa Mark.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, I'm gonna go ahead and I know some of us have to get
All right.
back to work. I've got to get back to my binging. Oh my God, Yellowstone. I saw a couple of previews of it, and I like Kevin Costner, so I thought that might have been that. And I thought the same thing you did. I'm like, I'm not gonna do it, not gonna, because that looks like something I could get hooked on. And now you've confirmed that. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I can tell you, it makes you feel so much better about your life. They are so crazy, but it teaches you some stuff. It teaches you some stuff for real. It's
yeah, we got to
good.
check that out,
But
Jen. It's a series on Netflix called Yellowstone.
Oh yeah,
no,
somebody
I
was
Like
think
saying.
it's on
it sounds like a
Pair.
modern day Dallas
Oh my,
Kind of.
that's what we need another show to get into.
because they're like
I won't have
on
any time to work. I'm
ranch,
gonna have
right?
to like quit my job to binge these
Yeah.
shows.
Yeah. They're
Yellowstone's
on
the
a
name of the
ranch.
ranch. Gotcha.
Hmm.
Yeah, I read
Okay,
Yeah.
about the series.
But
she's
I
into her
gotta
man
go.
right now.
All right, girls.
All right,
All
thank
right,
you for having
ladies.
me.
I love you, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you, T-Rex.
Love you,
That's
Jess.
Rissa.
Thanks.
Love
Thanks
you
for doing
too.
that.
Thanks, James. Thanks, Mark. I'll talk to y'all later.
Okay, baby
See ya.
girl. Jen, thank you so much for being on here too and taking the join in and come in and always offer words of wisdom. And I think it's pretty cool that you stepped away from the psychology thing when you realized a lot of it was to churn and burn it. They were the alley that they tried to take you down. So now you can take that degree and put it where it really counts on things like this live stream and helping people by helping them talk through things. And because you certainly helped me. You always talk about how much I help you. You help me too. So thank you.
Thank you. You definitely helped me. That's what we're here for, to help each other, right?
That's it. Help each other get through this crazy thing called life, as Prince said. I'm always quoting Prince. But guys, thank you so much, Mark, James.
Thank you, everybody.
There was another name in there.
Clarissa, Jamie,
Clarissa, that's who
Clarissa,
it was.
Jamie,
Thank
Mark.
you, Clarissa.
There was somebody else too, and I know
Jamie.
some James, right? Did we say James and Jamie?
Yep.
James.
Anybody
Okay.
who's listening on the replay, thank you so much for listening. And please share this with others, especially the section where Jess shared her and got open with us about her bipolar disorder. Thank you so much, Jess, for doing that. That was very brave of you. And that is amazingly awesome. And Mark, I'm looking forward to those 9 virtues because I think we need some virtues on this show to help share with people. So guys, thank you. I hope you have
Thanks,
an
everybody that was listening and couldn't comment too. We know you're there.
We know you're there. And again, shout out to Jen Litchfield. Special thanks for the all the wonderful presents that you've given us and the stuff that you've helped us to try to better our thing that we're doing over here. Thanks again to the now 594 subscribers. So shout out for that. We are working our way towards that 600 and then onwards and upwards to 1,000
Onward and
subscribers.
upward, 1,000.
Right. So
Imagine how many people YouTube will allow us to help then.
right. So guys, peace and blessings and have a good rest of your day. We'll see you 12:30 mañana.
See ya.
I thought I clicked the button.